Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to an episode of Elevated Health. Today, I got the man with a plan, my man Jake. What's going on, bro?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I got the three drinks
Sipping on that.
going per
Yes, sir.
use kombucha, some methylene blue water, and some coffee. Just spilled a ton of coffee all over my counter before we got into this episode, so I got it cleaned up, but it's never a good way to start the day.
And coffee. It's a scam.
Oh, dude. So I was went in the store needing some new coffee, and I was like, I'm buying the darkest roast I can find. And so I did exactly that. I literally bought just the darkest one possible. And I will say it is strong compared to what I was drinking before. Before I was drinking like a medium roast or whatever it's called. Now I got the darkest one possible. It's strong. It's bitter, but it does the job. I like it.
There you go. You add anything to it?
No,
Jeez.
I'm not soft.
Yeah, I guess I'm soft.
Yeah,
Hey, coffee.
yeah. Well, let's dive into it. So, for anyone who's like, all right, are we talking about coffee in this episode or what? No, we're not talking about coffee. We are going to talk about supplements. Obviously, this is a topic that you have millions of supplements out there on the market. When you first get into training, like you probably think you need a stack of $200, $300 worth of supplements. You think you need your protein powders and you need to start making the shakes. Like, I feel like that's what a lot of people consider healthy is if they got like the shakes, they're taking their pills every day. Like, I think that they view that as like the healthy lifestyle. And we're about to talk to you guys about, what you need in your diet, and then what you need to supplement if you're not getting it in your diet first and foremost, and just what we've experienced combined. We have over 20 years of training experience, and with 20 years of training experience comes a lot of nutrition and supplement. Um, what do you call it? Experimentation. That's what I'm looking for. So we've probably taken every single supplement from under the sun, from eating raw beef liver every single day. That was me. I don't know if Jake ever did that, but I've been there. I've done that. To taking your basic protein powders. So we're gonna dive into all these supplements. So where do you want to start with this, brother? Most important supplement?
uh, let's start off with minerals. I
Cool.
think uh, I think minerals is. I think everybody lacks minerals in their diet. You get minerals like magnesium, potassium from your food. Um, things like sodium. I think a lot of people eat sodium. They put salt in their food, but sometimes it's not the best salt. But um, sometimes we have these mineral deficiencies because we eat so much sodium, but we lack on other things like potassium, chloride, magnesium. Um, so for me, trace minerals, this is like I put this in my water every single day. Trace minerals. It's got magnesium chloride in it, also sodium, potassium. That helps with hydration levels, electrolytes, prevents me from cramping. I used to cramp a lot, like especially after an intense workout, like a leg day. My quads or hamstrings would start cramping up. So put some trace minerals in my mouth, get a drink of water, boom, it's almost like an instant release or fix. I think a big reason of that is because of the magnesium. Last night, for example, I didn't drink as many minerals yesterday because I was out and I didn't have my bottle with me. So I was just drinking regular, tap water. And I had my workout later in the day. I had a leg workout and then I ran right after that. So I was pretty tired. I was pretty beaten up. My legs were. So last night, as I was trying to go to bed, I was laying in bed and my quads actually started cramping up on me. Like it was
Mm.
bad. Like I could barely move and it was extremely painful. So I got up and I actually took a magnesium. I have like a powder, a scoop of magnesium, put that in water, stirred it up, drank it. 5 minutes later, I'm laying in bed, able to go to sleep because that magnesium, was in my body. It, went to my muscles, and I was no longer dehydrated from these minerals like magnesium, and my body was able to kind of take that in and relax.
Um, That's huge. I think one big thing you're getting across here, and I know you've said this in past episodes, is like you should not just be drinking plain tap water, like plain water in general. And the filtered waters, like you've said in the past, like it filters some of those minerals out. So you need to be adding minerals in to your water, to your drinks in general. And you can get a lot of these minerals from food, but magnesium is one of the tougher ones to get in just from the diet alone. So definitely one that I recommend supplementing, if not all of them. Like Jake is saying, especially sodium. If you're training hard, if you're doing anything in the sauna, sweating, especially with summer coming up here in the near future, like if you're getting outside, sweating, training, like sodium is one that I don't know why, but for so long, so many people have feared sodium. Like, oh, that's high in sodium. We can't eat it. Well, yeah, the junk sodium from your McDonald's burger and fries, like that's terrible quality sodium. You're right. You can't eat that. That's doing nothing but bad for your body. But these high quality salts, which I'll let Jake cover, the different types of salts. We probably tried every single brand of salt under the sun as well. But high quality salts, not just your average restaurant table salt type stuff. That's when you're going to get some good levels of sodium that's going to be actually good for your body. Not doing all this bad like everyone likes to say. It's something where we as a society will take like one thing and just label everything else underneath of it. Like sugar, for example. Like we take added sugars, processed sugars. When I say sugar, people probably think donuts, cookies, all this stuff. It's like, oh, sugar's bad. It's like, no, like sugar was placed here by God to fuel us. Like it is literally a fuel source for our body and one of the best ones at that. So like sugar is just another one that I feel like people they cling on to this negative connotation in these words, and it's just like it's not even true. So with salt, get some high quality sodium in, get the magnesium in. I've done the packets like Element Teas. I know you do the trace mineral drops. Element Teas, they taste fantastic, sweetened with the stevia stuff. So not a bad sweetener there, but I like them. I drink about one every day, but it is not sufficient enough in magnesium. It's got 1,000 milligrams of sodium, but only 60 milligrams of magnesium. So I don't think you're getting enough magnesium just from one element tea packet. So I actually take a magnesium supplement around an element tea as well. So
Yeah, and if you, yeah, I mean, you can obviously get these minerals like what we just named through your diet and foods, but it's also good to have that supplement just to add it in because I mean sometimes we don't get enough through our diet. But I mean things like potatoes, bananas, avocados, like these foods that you can eat to increase your magnesium intake. Um, and yeah, you were talking about the quality of sodium salt. Like if you go to a restaurant and they got the salt sitting on the table, that little salt shaker, if you dump that out, it's plain white salt because it's table salt. It's been bleached, and what happens when it's bleached is it just kills all the nutrients inside of it. So the salt that I use and the salt that I put on my food and my water, um, I get Redmond's salt. It's like real natural salt, and it's not that plain white salt. It's got a little bit of pink to it. It's there's Celtic salt, sea salt, all these different salts that you can use that are so much better than the regular white bleached table salt.
yeah, absolutely. Quality, quality, quality. And I know somebody is sitting here thinking like, well, you guys are talking about getting this in your diet, like, and I know you just alluded to some of the foods, that are good for you with magnesium. You know, the question of like, okay, well, what foods contain these minerals? If you literally start Googling like what foods are high in sodium, foods are high in these different stuff, your top three answers nearly every single time are going to be some sort of meat, fish, or eggs. Like every single time. It's funny because we were looking at the magnesium or not magnesium mineral ratios. Like these minerals need to be ratioed and balanced in our body for anyone, listening. That's a whole nother level beyond just getting them in. Like if you're listening to this and you don't do anything, don't worry about the ratios. Just start making sure you're getting quality minerals in. And once you start doing that and you feel solid in that, then you can hire Jake and you can talk about those ratios a little more. Um, but we were looking into the ratios and looking at just doing blood work and stuff like that, and so we were even researching like different foods, just making sure our diet was kind of covering all of our bases. Um, and literally, like every single one you look up, it's meat, fish, and eggs, like at the very top. Every single time, it's wild. Obviously, you have some that aren't, but predominantly those three cover all of the minerals.
Yeah, it's natural, God given food. It's almost like God knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's wild. So, I mean, I know somebody was just asking that question and they're ready to hit the Google piece. And I'm telling you, if you are eating meat, fish, and eggs, you're in a good spot. You're in a really good spot. Now, I think if
Yeah,
you're
for
training
sure.
hard on top of that, you still need to be getting extra salts in. And I do think people are just deficient in magnesium. And the way you can really like figure out um, like your magnesium intake level is like the next morning, if your poop is a little running, you took a little bit too much magnesium. I've experienced this. So like for me, I sit around the 500 milligrams of supplemented magnesium on top of whatever I eat for that day. I don't worry about what's in my food necessarily, but as far as supplementing, if I go over 500 milligrams of magnesium to that 600 mark, that's when the next morning my poop is running a little bit more than I like it to run. Um, so, and it's not because of the coffee. So yeah,
That
that's how you can
dark
kind of
roast.
yeah, that's how you can kind of measure your threshold though. Is if you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh, it's like maybe just throttle it back just a little bit. So I have pills that are 200 milligrams capacity. So I take two of those, and then I take a Element T, which takes me to about the 460. About takes me to exactly the 460 mark.
Yeah.
Supplemented magnesium. So
It's funny you said that because that magnesium powder that I took last night, I was reading the label on the back and it said like if you if you take too much or something like that, it's treated like a laxative or like laxative purposes. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean exactly what you're talking about is if you take too much, you'll know.
yeah, absolutely. And I think another question people are probably having right now is just like, what are the benefits of these minerals? Well, everything. Like I was even talking to my dad about this because he's getting into the mineral game harder, um, and he was looking up the benefits. We were talking about it, and I was like, these are vital to our bodily function as a whole. Like these benefit absolutely everything. So I think that that's something I want to get across too. Like, is there like specific benefits like that are more, you know, I guess proficient than others? I suppose, but it's like we need these for every bodily function. Like these are vital minerals. So it's not something like, do I have to take it if like my heart's good or something? Like it's not a question of like, do I need to be taking these? It's like, yes, everyone needs to be getting these minerals in. That's why Jake started these, started the episode with these over everything else, because these are vital to human life.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, just like I talked about is if you lack these minerals, your body's going to suffer. Like for me, it was, muscle cramps, it could be like a nerve issue or something like that. So like there's no like extra benefit like oh it's going to boost your performance, it's going to make you stronger or something like that. It's just your body's going to work as it should.
Yeah. And you're going to feel it in your energy levels. Like when you start dialing in these minerals, like getting them in, you're going to feel it in your energy. You're going to feel it in your sleep quality. Everything is going to benefit from this. It may not be like he's saying direct, like, oh my God, I'm feeling stronger in the gym, but your just mental clarity and mood, like I've definitely felt a difference. It takes hydration to another level. So definitely getting these minerals in. But I think we've hit on minerals. I mean, we're 15 minutes in. All we talked about is minerals. So let's move on here. Where you want to go to next? I got a feeling I know.
I got creatine right here. I can talk about creatine. So creatine, I take this every day, 5 grams a day, 1 scoop. Creatine monohydrate is what I take. Um, and as an athlete, I think this is one of the best supplements you can take. Creatine, I mean, it boosts your energy. ATP, we talked a little bit about this on the last episode. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it's your energy system. And your first, you have like these three levels of your energy system. The very first one is your fast explosive movements. That's ATP, CP, creatine, phosphate. Creatine's in the name. So all these fast explosive movements, when you're in the weight room, moving weight, if you're an athlete, every time you sprint, jump, cut, any of these quick movements, that creatine, that energy system is your primary, energy source, your fuel. So increased energy. I noticed better recovery as well. So when I started taking creatine, in between sets at the gym, I wasn't getting as fatigued. I was ready to go a lot faster. I didn't have to wait as long in between sets. It's good for cognitive function, brain function, all these things. As an athlete, you notice once you start taking it.
Yeah. I would say that's the biggest thing I've noticed with creatine as well is like you're saying with the recovery, like me being able to go deeper into rep ranges with heavier weights and feel good. And then, yeah, like not having to take as much of a rest break, coming back and still feeling strong. It's like, it like significantly reduces like the fatigue dirt like intra workout for me. Like I'm able to do a lot more reps with heavier weights when I'm on the creatine. And I will say, like, I've been taking creatine for 8 years now, probably. Started taking it when I was like 12 years old. And that's not insanely consistent. It's probably been consistent for the last like 3 years. And I will say, like, it is the number one supplement that I have like tangibly felt a difference from in my life. Like I can feel when I'm on my creatine and I can feel when I'm off my creatine. And another thing I'll add with the creatine is I used to get headaches in the gym when I was training hard. I would go for something like really taxing, like just even any really sort of strenuous lift. And I would just get this like head tension, like just built up. And I realized it's when I'm on creatine, but it's when I'm dehydrated on creatine. When I'm not getting enough water in, when I'm not getting enough of these minerals that we just talked about before, that's when I've dealt with that kind of head tension. Is just when I'm dehydrated. So if you start taking creatine and you start hitting the gym and you're like, oh, I'm feeling something in my head when I'm hitting the gym, I just got on this creatine. You're just dehydrated. You're not getting enough minerals in. Creatine pulls a lot of water to the muscles, so you need to be getting in some extra fluids, and definitely hitting on what we talked about for the first 14 minutes of this episode: minerals,
Yeah,
minerals, minerals.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, when I first started creatine, they're taking it. It was about a year and a half ago. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. I started taking it, and you can do a loading phase, which I'll talk about it briefly. But it's when you like typically you take about 5 grams a day. If you want to start a loading phase, what you do is you take more for like the first 5 to 7 days. So what I did was I took 20 grams a day, 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, or late at night, for first week. And what that did was it helped my body reach the saturation point, which it helped with the faster results, but it's not needed. If you don't want to do a loading phase, you don't need to just, take 5 grams. It may just take a couple weeks before you start to actually notice something. So, I kind of wanted to experiment with it. So I did my loading phase for the first week, and I actually gained 5 pounds in that first week because of what you just said. The water, the creatine stores more water in your muscles. It makes you look bigger. So I actually gained 5 pounds in that first week. I didn't build 5 pounds of muscle. I just had so much more water in my body because of that, which is another reason why you need to take those minerals, is because you will be dehydrated if you aren't taking minerals, if you aren't drinking enough water. So if you do take creatine, make sure you do take your minerals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're about to talk about a different supplement here. And I know there's someone listening to this is like, why haven't these guys talked about protein powder? Like somebody's sitting here thinking like, is it not that important? Like, oh, are they going to get to it next? We haven't talked about protein powder, number one, because you should be getting that all from food. Like, if you are wondering how much protein you should be eating, the past two episodes we do a deeper dive into the whole nutrition side of calories and protein and carbs and fats of whether you're trying to lose weight or gain weight. So go back and listen to those, whichever category you fall into. But the moral of the story is you should be getting it all from your food. Now, if you're trying to bulk, that can be a different story. It may be hard to get it all from your food. Then you could turn to protein. But with any of these supplements that we're mentioning, outside of probably minerals and creatine, like most of it should come from your diet, from your food. Like this is not something where we're trying to be a walking powder or a walking pill. Like that is just outrageous. And if anybody's doing that, like they got health all wrong, in my opinion. God provided us everything naturally. We don't have to turn to these supplements like to depend on them for things such as protein. So I just wanted to get that across real quick because I'm not even sure if we're going to talk about protein powders. We can, and there's definitely different levels to the protein powders as well. Like, let's just touch on it real quick while we're here. Like, talk to us about the different qualities of protein powders.
Yeah, for sure. So I know I've worked with some clients in the past who did not eat meat or didn't love meat. So, protein powder was a good supplement for them because, they lacked protein in their diet. Once again, not something I recommend, eat more meat, eat more eggs, stuff like that. But um, protein powder, you have different options. Stay away from soy. You got whey or like a plant based. Most of it's the plant based is like pea protein and stuff like that. I personally take the whey. If you have issues with dairy, then maybe try the plant based one. But what I use is a organic grass fed whey protein. It's all natural. No other unhealthy additives. It's all natural stuff. I think I buy mine off Amazon. And once again, like Matt said, I don't eat this protein powder like every single day. I just use it at night if I need to increase my protein if I haven't eaten enough during the day, or maybe like throw it in a smoothie or something. I know some people who may like make some protein pancakes, something like that, but it's not a focus for me. I try to eat as much protein through my diet and then just add the supplement protein powder, late at night if I need to increase my protein for that day.
Yeah, you have clients who are vegans, so you give them the entire animal protein powder, where they use the whole animal to produce the powder. Got to get it in. But something I want to get across too is just because it has protein in it does not mean it is healthy, man. Some of these guys on social media got me messed up. The way that they put out these quote healthy recipes, it's like healthy Oreo cookies. It's like high protein Oreo cookies. Like they just put protein powder in a bunch of garbage ingredients and call it healthy because it's high protein. Like kudos to them. At least they're getting protein in. I'll ride with that all day. But like if you're listening to this, just because it has protein in it does not mean it is healthy. And another layer to that, like Jake is saying, there's different qualities of these powders. He's taking a grass fed, all natural, no garbage additives in his powders. Like you will do yourself more harm than good if you are taking low quality protein powders. I promise you, you're not going to build a body that you want off of a low quality protein powder. And especially if you are turning to that, for your breakfast or for your lunch, like it's not a meal replacement either. Now, if you can't get the meals in, and you have to turn to a quality powder, then great. But don't just go straight to the powder without getting a meal in if you can get the meal in. I want to get that across because so many guys are out here trying to build a body off of some bullshit in their blender bottle, and it's just not going to happen, man. I'm telling you, it's just not going to happen. Get the real meats, get the fish, get the eggs. Turn to the powders last, and when you do turn to the powders, turn to a quality powder. And like Jake is saying, it's not something he does every day. It's when life gets busy, work is busy, life is stressful. He's spending extra hours in the gym, whatever. And it's like, oh man, had to skip lunch today or had to skip the snack today. I better get some extra protein in to make sure I'm still hitting my goals that way. So when you're not taking it daily and relying on it daily, that'll also give you the budget to buy a higher quality powder and put a little bit more, money towards it. Because I understand that these things can be expensive, but if you just have something that's a back burner, a supplement in addition to your diet when necessary, that you take, a handful of scoops a month, maybe it's like you're going to have that thing for a long time. So you can splurge a little bit on the quality because it is going to be more expensive to get that higher quality powder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a subscription on Amazon where it mails me once a month, and I actually haven't been using it as much, so I have like four stored up. So that's a subscription I have to cancel. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, definitely use it as in addition to your diet. Don't replace meals with it.
Yeah. So where we covered minerals, covered creatine, monohydrate, covered protein. Where are we going next?
I think you froze. Were you gonna ask me where we going next?
Yep, that's exactly what I asked.
I I saw you sipping on some blue water earlier. What's in
Okay.
that water?
Yeah. So my blue water over here. This is just simply water with methylene blue dropped into it, and methylene blue doesn't taste very good. So the water is a little like bitter, but I don't really mind it. It's way better than putting it straight to the tongue, man. It tastes terrible when you do that. Um, but yeah, this methylene blue, like it's got this buzz in the space right now. I think it's had a buzz a few years ago around COVID as well. Um, but it's really buzzing. So I was like, you know what? I got a little FOMO. Everybody's got these blue tongues. This stuff looks cool in the water. Apparently it's straight from God. What people make it out to be, all these health gurus that I follow on social media. So I was like, I'm gonna jump on. I'm gonna get me some methylene blue, and I really liked the owner of this company. His name's Vance. He's a fighter. He's a legend. Um, so I had interacted with him a little bit on Twitter, and I was like, all right, seems like a cool dude. So I was like, I'll support his company, and his mission seems to be on the path. So got this stuff, and it's like the biggest way that they've said it's supposed to benefit is like when your phone is like about to die and it's kind of like running slow, like that's kind of how the body is operating, and this is supposed to like make it to where you're operating as if your phone was at 100%, like, and I'm talking about the brain, that is the cognitive function. That's what they've kind of used as like the example. Now for me, can I like attest to that? I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and say like I started taking this and oh my god, my cognitive function, mental clarity is off the charts. It's not like a few other supplements that I can notably say that has made a difference in my life. And I've given this a fair shake. Like I'm on my second bottle of it. I even went back for a second bottle. So I've given this a fair shake. But I feel sharp. I do a ton for my health, so I couldn't tell you why I feel sharp all the time. I don't know if it's this or what, but I'll come off of it and see what happens after, and have a little bit, more to report back once I get back off of it. But main benefits is cognitive function. People use it on like cuts. I even have one that has methylene blue infused into tallow. Same company sells it, and I've been putting that on my skin. Skin has felt great. I only use tallow on my skin. So it's been cool, but like I said, there's nothing that I can like notably say, like, okay, this has been a huge benefit. Go buy this or not. But there are people who out there who would call what I'm saying bogus and say that it has been monumental in their life. So yeah, that's where I
Yeah,
stand.
yeah, it's one of those things that's picked up a lot of traction the last couple of months. I've seen a lot of people, especially on Twitter, talking about it, using it. You talk about the blue tongue. They'll take a picture of their blue tongue. Oh, got my methylene blue in today.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's one of those that it may work better for different people. Like you said, you may not know if it works for sure. And one of those things, I actually had this conversation with a client. about something similar last week. He was taking, a couple of supplements, and he's like, I've been taking these for 2 months and I'm not really sure if they're working. I was like, don't take it for a couple of weeks. See if you notice a difference. If you do, get back on it. So it's these things you have to experiment, on yourself, for you to know if it's going to work for you or not.
Yeah. And something I would add to that too is like outside of how the supplements change your body, what do they do for your mindset? Because when I've, have worked with clients in the past, like someone who has taken a pre-workout, for example, like I will never recommend anyone taking a pre-workout, of course, anything other than, a natural, sugars, fruits, honeys, things like that, quick digesting sugars. But I've had clients in the past who have struggled to go to the gym, before they're about to leave work at 5 o'clock, it forces them to go to the gym. So it's like if these supplements aren't necessarily doing anything for you physically, I'm not saying go dump a bunch of money into them, but I'm saying, is there anything else they are doing for you? Are they getting you to the gym? Are they, maybe when you take your methylene blue in the morning or your morning multivitamin or whatever you guys are taking, like maybe it's just like, man, I'm feeling healthy today. Maybe it just puts you on the right foot, of putting your health forward. So it gets you in the right mindset to hit the gym, get outside, get more active, eat a better diet, whatever that might be for you. Because, like I said, I've had clients who just literally love to take the powder at work. So that way they are forced to go to the gym right after. Because it's like I took my pre workout, I got my gym clothes, like I got to go. So I think there's something to be said for what these can do for you simply outside of the benefit they are supposed to have, just what they can do for your mindset around the healthy lifestyle that you are living.
Yep. I think, and I've heard so many people talk about, like the health, the whole entire health game. Like, oh, I don't want to get into the gym because then I'll have to eat healthy. Then I'll have to, actually work out and stuff. And it's like it. First of all, there's so many things wrong with what you just said, but second, once you start, taking action in your life and trying to be healthy, doing these things, the rest of it just kind of compounds, and you just build that momentum, and you just want more and more because you see results, you feel good, so you want to keep feeling good, you want those results, you want to get better, you want to get stronger, you want to, just you want a quality life, so these things just build off of each other.
Yeah, and that's the reason you see a guy like Brian Johnson, for example, trying to live to 120. Maybe he's got a screw loose, but I kind of think he believes in the Bible because the Bible says 120 is the cap, where God put us. So I think he's at least a believer because I don't know why he would have chose 120, but he's spending like over $2 million a year and takes like over 104 pills a day, uh, trying to live to 120. Now, cleaning that up, and trying out supplements. And it's like, okay, well, what, equipment should I be buying for the gym? Like, it's just like everything else. Like, as you progress, there's levels to it. Like, all my athletes in the past, like, you guys understand, like, if you grew up playing baseball, for example, like there's qualities of gloves, there's qualities of bats, like there's qualities of cleats. Like you just as you get better in these things, you spend a little bit more time and money and energy. And then when you take it to health, also as you're getting better, you're feeling so much better, like Jake was saying. So you're kind of just taking the steps down the rabbit holes, and then you eventually end up with toe spacers on, wearing Jesus sandals that no one really likes, but actually they don't look bad, honestly. Um,
I don't think they do.
no, I
you
don't
know
think they
i
look bad.
I get a lot of people making fun of me, but I think they look cool.
I think they look great. Yeah, just especially in the summer, man. They're so easy to slip on. But yeah, you start doing the barefoot life, and things like that. But you're reaping the benefits the whole way, and there's no turning back, man, because you feel so good. It's like, especially with the barefoot stuff, dude. Like noticeable difference there. But that'll be another episode for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get back to the supplement talk. Um, Methylene blue we just covered. What do we got next?
Yeah, so something I wanted to cover was homeopathy. If you have not heard of it, it's, I mean, it's a natural medicine. And one reason you may have not heard of it is because it actually works. It's not a prescription that the doctor can write you, to make money off of. Um, but homeopathy, it's like the law of similars. So it's, if you have, like, let's say like a bee sting, there's a homeopathy out there with a little bit of like bee venom in it. So you take that and it helps heal that bee sting. It's almost like a vaccine. It gives you a little bit to help heal, the bigger problem, but just without
Mm.
all the, you know, other unhealthy poison in it, like a vaccine. But um, I mean, I've used homeopathy for a long time. My whole family is into the health space, so my mom got me started on it. But something big for me as an athlete, it was Arnica montana. So I used this anytime I had a soft tissue injury. So like a bruise or a sore muscle, a pulled muscle, things like that. I would use this Arnica montana, and you can just buy this in the store. Just look up Arnica montana. You can even find it on Amazon, something like that. Um, there's different things out there. There's a gel and a cream that you can use for topical use. You can rub it on the area. There are different pills, like these little dissolvable pills you can put in your mouth. You can take them every 30 minutes or so. You can't overdose on these. It's natural medicine. But these things have really helped me, as an athlete, with injuries, with soreness, stuff like that. Arnica montana is one of the most useful things for me in like my physical life, ever since I was a kid. Football, basketball, baseball, all these little, nicks, bruises, ailments, I still use it today when I'm in the gym. I have, some pain somewhere, put some arnica on it, and it really does help. It's something you have to be consistent with. So if you don't know what homeopathy is, look it up, and you'll find a great source of medicine that you probably have not even heard of.
Dude, I've never heard of it. So I'm getting exposed out here on this episode to new stuff, man. That's cool. No, I never heard of it, but I'll definitely look it up. I know Tawny would be into it, so
Oh yeah, for
that's
sure.
sick. Is that? I mean, like you said, I got nothing to
There,
add. I've never heard of it, so
no, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's a whole bunch out there. I mean, I had this like whole little note sheet that if I read it through, I could tell you more. But I have this little set. It's like has like 30 different types of medicines in it. The homeopathy medicine. Like I mentioned, arnica. Bee stings, things like that. If you have like a sore throat, you can go to others. There's so many different
yeah,
types of homeopathy out there for different um, I guess different symptoms. That's the thing, though. It treats symptoms. So if you have a sore throat, take this. It's not like flu medicine. It's whatever symptom you have. Look that up, and there's a homeopathy for it. So I would definitely encourage you to look into it.
sick. No, I definitely will. I'll just go ahead and take the reins and head to the next supplement that I want to talk about, and that is L-theanine. Something new that I've been on recently. Hadn't I? I heard a ton about it, um, and I hadn't taken it, and I was like, I got to try this. Everybody's talking about it, so again, I get sucked in because of the social media game. More so the Elevate guys like Peyton Marsh talking about it. So I started it, and dude, oh my god, I take the magnesium glycinate for my sleep before. Glycinate is good for sleep. For anyone wondering, it's amino acid. It is paired with my magnesium. Magnesium has all kinds of pairings. You can look into all these different like pairings. It's paired with all this different stuff that has different use cases and purposes. So you can look at that. I chose to go with magnesium glycinate specifically just because I wanted the better sleep quality. So he started taking L-theanine before bed as well for the sleep, in addition to, and oh my god, I thought my dreams were movies before. It's crazy the movies that I'm having in my sleep, man. Like it is wild. And dreaming is a great sign of quality sleep. So like L-theanine, highly recommend. I have not tried it like any other time before bed, but I was talking to Peyton and Marsh, and they had said like, you can take it with your coffee. It'll prevent like the jitters because it promotes relaxation. So apparently, like it'll help you focus with the caffeine without going off the deep end, dealing with the jitters, dealing with the crashes. Like it'll relax you, calm you down, a little less anxiety when you're on the caffeine. But
Mhm.
I like being in that anxious state, so that's where I thrive, man. So and other people have said they take it like because it's good for vascularity too, or blood flow, I should say. People have said like they'll take it before the gym, like just promote a little relaxation, little caffeine before the gym, get some good blood flow going. I've always been a super vascular guy, so and I just equate that to getting a ton of salt in and stuff. So, and obviously training and doing all the stuff that I do for my health, but
Being
um,
jacked.
appreciate it. So L-theanine is not something I can say like, oh yeah, my vascularity is increased, but my sleep has definitely been off the charts since I jumped on it. So highly recommend jumping on it for that, and then maybe even trying out some of these other use cases. I need to try it in the morning and stuff, see what happens.
Yeah, see, that's one I can't speak on because I have not taken L-theanine. I was on the nutrition call the other night talking to both Nick Holes and Marsh, and they were talking about it. Saying the same thing is it kind of prevents the jitters because we were talking about caffeine. I was asking questions about caffeine, and they said if you get the jitters or feel anxious or whatever from the caffeine, then take that and it kind of helps relax from that same thing you were talking about.
Dude, I like the jitters, bro. Like there's one thing I miss about pre-workout. And I mean, I could probably just go take beta alanine, but was my face itching, dude? I miss my face itching. I used to like that going to the gym. Maybe I wouldn't like it now. I don't know. It's been a while since I've experienced that, but for the longest time, I was like, man, I miss that feeling of just like, oh, just really itching.
See, that's
If a
something
supplement
I've
is
not.
making your face itch, you should probably stop taking
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure.
That's what if you get anything out of this episode, it's that your face should not be itching. You need to go look up some what are those things called? I can't remember the name. The H word.
What,
What's it?
the H word?
You just said the Montana, Antica, Montana, or something.
Arnica, Montana, homeopathy.
Arnica, yeah. Yeah, you need to go find the symptoms of face
Homeopathy.
itching and get you some homeopathy for that.
For sure.
Oh
Oh
man, but
man.
after L-theanine, I'll just take it to vitamin D, specifically D3 K2. So for all my guys who are not in a state that is full of sunshine, especially during the winter, like Jake over there in Indiana, I highly recommend getting in some vitamin D3 plus K2. I think from my experience and knowledge, D3 is basically rendered useless without K2.
I've heard
Is
that.
that you have
I,
anything
I I
about
don't
that
know
or
much on it, but I've heard the same thing. It kind of needs that K with it to, I
yeah?
guess, maximize the use of it.
I think the K deals with the like facilitation of it. I know some other stuff, but I'm not even gonna get into that because I'm not too confident in it. So I don't want to share anything that I'm not like this is right. Um, but yeah, I've heard from some very reliable sources that I trust that D3 is basically rendered useless without the K2. So if you just look up vitamin D3 plus K2, you'll find a supplement that has that. And I mean, Amazon, great spot. We literally just got a bottle in the mail, I think yesterday. So of D3K2. But yeah, if you're in the winter season, you're not getting much sun on the skin for that vitamin D. I recommend getting some D3K2 in. It's going to help with basically everything. It's a vital. Vitamin D is vital to our health. So it's not a matter of should I be taking this. It's if you're not getting sunshine in, you have to be taking it. Like that is huge, and I think it'll prevent kind of a lot of that wintertime sickness that a lot of people just experience. Like it is not normal to just have a cough and be just a little sick. Like I want to throw that out there too. Like because without born and raised in Indiana, like you get it. Like I feel like in the winter, everyone's just like cool with being just like a little sick and coughing
Yep.
and like I spent a year in Florida. Now I'm out in Colorado, and that's not a thing in either of those states. And it's like that's a little messed up that we were just like cool with being sick during the winter. It's like, oh yeah, it's the winter time. We're just gonna be sick. Like what?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I talk to some people, on a day to day basis where I'll talk to them and they're like, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. I'm kind of sick." A couple weeks later, they're fine, and then another week goes by and they're sick again. It's like you were just sick 2 weeks ago, and it's like, "Oh yeah, it's just the winter time. I'm just I got cold. I'm not feeling well." It's like I'm not sick. Why do you keep getting sick? It's taking care of yourself, and like Matt said, supplements some vitamin D. That's good for you too. Something I will add is, like he said, you got to get the right kind. He takes would you say D3K2
Yeah, D3 plus K2 is what
plus?
it says.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there are some out there that's just regular vitamin D, and it's a synthetic vitamin, synthetic hormone, and it's not going to be good for your body. So make sure you get what Matt's talking about is D3 plus K2.
And don't go to the Walmart and pick up that green bottle with the yellow lid, the Nature Made or whatever. Like if you're taking those, you got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. Like those, yeah, those bottles at Walmart. We've all seen them. Like they're everywhere. Those, green bottle, with yellow lids, like Nature Made. I think no shot at them, but that's got some additive stuff in those, and it's just not the quality supplement you want to be taking. I mean, it's sold at Walmart like the most common supplement there is for a reason. So, like, get out of there, get some higher quality stuff. If you're wondering what that higher quality stuff is, reach out to Jake, hit him up. Like that is going to be your resource to find out what is a high quality supplement. So D3K2. I mean, any more you want to cover? I think I probably got a handful of more that I could talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to cover CBD real quick because I use some CBD salve. I've used oil in the past as well. Um, Very good for pain relief. If you have, high pain or, just situations where you're not feeling good, CBD is good. I've used it on my knees in the past, just rub some CBD on it. And, a couple minutes later, my knees are feeling good. I've had a client use it on his back. He had really bad, back pain from surgeries in the past. Got him on some CBD. He used it topical use, salve. It helped with the pain relief big time on him. I know a lot of people use especially the oil for nighttime. You talked about sleep. A lot of people use it to relax. Go to bed, relax, sleep. Helps with anxiety, all these different things that, you can use CBD for. For me, I've typically used it just for pain, but I mean, there are a lot of uses for it.
Yeah, it's huge. I need to try it out. Not that I experience much pain, but yeah, why not? I think the place I'm just gonna go next is talking about beef liver here for a second. I feel like a lot of people, I mentioned that at the beginning, so I want to make sure I talk
Yeah.
about it because that was a buzz for a long time, Liver King and all that. I don't know if people tried it, haven't tried it, or are wondering what the hell it's about, but I've tried buying the raw liver itself, cutting into cubes, and eating it straight in the morning, not doing the supplement. And then I've tried the pills, like the beef liver pills. And like, is there a plethora of vitamins and things to take out of beef liver? Sure. But is it worth it? I don't think so. I didn't experience anything crazy. It wasn't like, oh my God, my energy's off the charts. I'm feeling good. It was nothing notable. The only like three notable supplements, I mean, outside of caffeine, of course, is creatine monohydrate, magnesium, glycinate specifically for me, and then L-theanine. Like those are the three where I'm like, I notice a difference when I take these or don't take these. So I'll just preface with that. But the beef liver, like I said, I tried the actual liver. I tried the pills. I think you can get all that stuff from a good, bioavailable diet. So I don't think you need to turn to that, but I did it. I bought in when everybody was buying in. Apparently that's a common theme for me, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
did the same thing. I've taken the beef liver pills, like the capsule pills. I've not eaten raw liver or any raw organs. So I know a lot of people. do it. They eat it because of the vitamins and minerals, the nutrients. But like Matt said earlier in this podcast, is you can get a lot of those vitamins and minerals from the food you eat, like meat, eggs. Those are two very high quality foods and minerals and vitamins. So you don't have to, force feed yourself raw liver as you're gagging. You don't have to go to the pill if you don't want to. Just eat real food in your life, and most of it will take care of itself.
For sure. And if you're wondering what that food is, I've already mentioned it. Freaking meat, fish, eggs. Like, get those in. Something I want to know if you can speak on this before I try and speak on it, because I wish I had more knowledge around this, but it's not been a priority for me because I don't take any of it. I think I get all of this from my food. I know I get all this from my food, no problem. But I think a very common supplement is BCAAs. Now, I don't know if you can speak to either of those. I mean, I'll just say what they mean. You have branched chain amino acids and then essential amino acids with EAAs. Like, can you speak to either of those? Because I know a lot of people take BCAAs.
Yeah, I have not, taken them specifically. Like in the protein powder, if you buy like a powder, it'll kind of break down the BCAAs and the EAAs. But um, I haven't really focused on it too much. For me, I've just focused on protein. I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't have to maximize results. You know exactly what I look like and have the exact kind of protein. So I haven't worried too much about it. I kind of just stick with protein.
Yeah. So for everyone wondering, like amino acids are the building blocks of your protein. So if you're eating the meat, if you're getting good quality protein in, like we talked about, you're going to cover that. And I think BCAAs are a big waste of money. Now, I think if you're going to do amino acids like a supplement, I think you should go to EAAs first, and start there. I don't think you should go to BCAAs. And again, I wish I could speak more as to why I feel that way. I've just seen from some people that I trust that BCAAs are a big waste of money. And so sometimes you just got to trust people who are smarter than you, that are proven to be in alignment with the way you want to live your life. So that's the big key there, proven to be in alignment with how you want to live. But yeah, so I think BCAAs are just a waste. So stop taking that. It's not necessary, especially like Jake said, unless you're like maybe a bodybuilder who's trying to get on stage and compete. Then do your own research and go look into that stuff. But if you're just the average guy going to the gym, wanting to look good and feel good, and promote longevity in his life, and be able to play with your kids and whatnot, like you don't need to be taking that stuff. Like just focus on the high quality protein, and you're gonna cover all your bases to a T. So just wanted to get that across because I know that's a very notable supplement for people that people may have questions on. I'm trying to think of any like other notable supplements that I see a lot in the space. I mean, you see, pre workout a lot. I feel like we've touched on that. Like, don't be taking these pre workout powders. Like, you don't need it. And especially the people who are like getting off of work and taking pre workout powders at like 5 o'clock, like that level of caffeine and other stuff that's going into your body for that stimulant, that's tearing up your sleep quality, which is tearing up your recovery. So, like, turn to fruits, honeys, syrups, things like that before you're training. Real sugar, not these low quality powders and pre workouts. You don't need them. They're a waste of money. Unless, like I'd mentioned before, they're putting you in a mindset and getting you to go to the gym, then great. Keep taking it. I'm all for that. I'd rather you be showing up because you take the powder than not showing up at all. But if you can toggle away from those, absolutely do that. I don't know. Is there any other big supplements that people might be having questions about that are coming to your mind right now?
Yeah, one that comes to mind is a probiotic. I don't know. I have taken a probiotic pill, in the past. I've tried to take it consistently just for, gut health. Um, it's one of those where, like, yeah, I'm sure it was helping, but I didn't know for sure. I couldn't tell exactly if it was helping. Um, and a lot of probiotics you can get through your diet, especially with dairy, kefir, Greek yogurt, things like that. But I don't know. Have you ever taken like in a capsule form probiotic?
No, I've never taken a pro or a prebiotic. But what I focus on, just to give people a little dietary guidance, I focus on getting 6 servings a day of probiotics in. Now, what I mean by that is like if you look at your Greek yogurt label and it says 1 serving is 3/4 cup. I know that for a fact on my Greek yogurt. 1 serving is 3/4 cup. So I'll do, 1 serving of that, and then maybe 1 serving of whatever the kefir bottle says, 1 serving of kimchi, 1 serving of kraut, like and making sure these are actually fermented, like with probiotics in them, and understand that like if the kimchis or the krauts have probiotics, they're going to make it very clear in their marketing. Because if it has probiotics, it's more expensive and they're going to have to charge more. And they're going to justify why they're charging more to the people who are healthy and looking for these things by making it very clear. So if your bottle or container or whatever is not clearly say like probiotics or live active cultures, like it probably doesn't have in it what you're looking for. Um, and so I do kombucha every morning, like drinking on this episode, of course. But yeah, I focus on 6 servings across the board, whatever that is. Mainly Greek yogurt and kombucha is where I go. I get pretty much all of my 6 servings from that. So that's what I focus on. But no, I've never supplemented with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's what I try to stick with it. Just eating the probiotic foods. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things I've tried, didn't really see anything, so I stopped taking it. Um, but all these supplements that we have talked about, we know they've worked for us. Like we're never gonna say, recommend a supplement that we don't think is useful for you. Things like the minerals, the creatine, Matt's trying out the methylene blue, magnesium has worked for both of us. These things have worked and we've seen it work in our life. That's why we're talking about it. We're not going to sit here and talk about the 1,000 other supplements that
Yeah.
we don't know much about because we didn't see, anything work with us. We're talking about the ones that we know for a fact work.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not trying to waste your wallets. We've
Yeah,
spent a lot
exactly.
of money on supplements over the years, man. Like we're trying to save you money in experimentation and just go straight to the ones that we've seen, work for us. But it's also something you had mentioned earlier. Like things are different for everyone. So it's like, if methylene blue may change your life. I don't know. It hasn't changed mine, but there's people that say it's changed theirs. So maybe it's something if you feel strong enough about you put the money in, you invest, and you try it yourself. So everyone is kind of different. My body may have some needs that yours doesn't, and yours may, vice versa there. So if you're like, oh, I'm not going to listen to these guys, I'm going to try it out myself, great. That's exactly what we've
For
been doing
sure.
for the last decade. Like, yes, do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just, for example, like I said, the methylene blue is something that's gained a lot of traction in the last month. So Matt didn't go off that and say, oh, it works, and recommend it to people. He got it himself to try to see if it worked for him. Like he said, maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, but it's up for you to decide if it's going to work or not.
For sure. And there's when we say like work, the word work, that's like us noticing a difference. By no stretch am
Yeah,
I saying that methylene blue is not doing anything inside of my body. I'm sure it is. I'm sure the science behind it is completely accurate and it is helping my mitochondria and whatnot. But when we say work, we're literally just saying we've noticed a difference when we are taking it versus when we're not taking it. And it's something where I'm going to cycle off of methylene blue here soon. Once my bottle's out, I'm going to give it a full run. I'm going to cycle it off. And after that, that's probably when I'll have a better, case to be able to jump on and say, okay, I'm starting to notice the differences of, versus when I was not taking it. So I just want to get that across of like when we're saying work, it's not that it's not doing anything in our body. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's all legit, but it's just noticeable differences for us.
yeah, for sure. Something I like to think of, like to see if it works, ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth the money spent on it? Is it worth the time? Is it worth, you actually, taking it or, doing it, whatever, blue tongue.
Is it
So yeah,
worth
I
the
mean,
blue tongue?
exactly. So, I mean, just things like that to where, once you start taking it, pay attention, listen to, your body, these things, see if you notice the difference. If not, then, you know, try something else.
Yeah. And to close this out here, like when you're given these these supplements a fair shake, like a fair shot, and you're buying it, you're putting the money into it. Like if you are taking it sporadically, don't expect it to work. If you aren't taking it consistently, like, don't expect it to work. And if you aren't taking it at the proper time, proper dosage, like you're not giving the supplement a fair shot. Like if something says like take on an empty stomach, like take it on an empty stomach. I've fallen into that sometimes where I'm not taking these supplements at the right time. And then I'm saying like, oh, that supplement doesn't work. And then it's like, oh, well, I was taking it once a week when I was supposed to be taking it every day, or I was taking, half the dose I was supposed to take for my size or whatever. So it's like, give it the fair shake. Like go, like if you're going to put the money into it and the time into it, don't just take it once, shelf it and then say it doesn't work. Like I said, I'm on my second bottle of methylene blue because I'm going to give it a fair run. Like, so that I can actually have some legit data, personal experience to come back and say, like, I did the right dose, I took it at the right time, and here's my experience with it after getting through 2 bottles. So
Yep.
that's something I want to get across too, because I know a lot of people will order a supplement, they're inconsistent with their training and their diet, so they'll be inconsistent with their supplements. They'll take it twice and they're like, oh, that doesn't work, shelf it, and it sits up there and collects dust in your cabinet.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because if you're like me, out of sight, out of mind, right? If I have all these supplements up in the cabinet, I'm not taking them because I don't see them when I'm at my house, whatever. So I don't even think about it. I don't take it. So to be consistent with it, like right here, I put my creatine on on the table on the desk. So I see it every single day. I take it once a day. Maybe I'll put something on my nightstand or up on my dresser or desk. Just I have these things seen out so I know to take it. Or, set a reminder on your phone. Just anything that's going to remind you to take it instead of just collecting dust in the cabinet.
Dude, I'm the exact same way. I have my creatine and my methylene blue both sitting on the counter where I pour my kombucha every morning. And then I have my L-theanine and my magnesium right by the sink where I brush my teeth. So it's like I'm the same exact way. If I don't see it, it's probably not getting taken.
Yeah.
Uh, Unless it's just become such a habit. I've been like magnesium now at this point. I've been taking it probably for 2 years. So it's just such a habit. I wouldn't miss it. I even take it when I travel and stuff. So but yeah, like I'm the exact same way. So I'm glad you threw that out there because I'm sure we're not alone in that. We're definitely not alone in that.
For sure.
Oh, but
You got
all right.
anything else?
No, I don't think so. If there's any supplements that we didn't cover and you guys are like, wanting us to cover them, if you're inside Elevate, just reach out. We can make a training call around supplements and go a little deeper on some stuff that, you know, maybe we haven't tried or have tried. We can do some more research, or maybe it's something that we're like, oh, that sounds cool. We'll try it. So comment whatever you want to see, or reach out inside of Elevate, and we'll give these supplements a shot for you, if we want to. Obviously, if we're like, oh, that seems like a good one, yeah.
Steroids.
Yeah, yeah, TRT for sure. Um, and there's some supplements, I kind of got on the horizon. Like I definitely want to look into more L-carnitine. Haven't taken the time to look into it, but I want to look into that and try it out eventually after I do my research and make sure I want to try it. I don't know if there's anything you maybe have on the horizon at all.
I've been looking at peptides recently, so I may
Ton of people
experiment with
talking about
that.
those.
Yep.
Dude, apparently they're a game changer. Everyone I've talked to that's taken them is like world beater, man, of a
That's what I've
supplement.
heard. Yep.
So maybe we'll have to do a part two after we try other stuff. I've heard a lot about Shilajit lately, which I don't think I'm gonna take or try. But yeah, so if there's any we didn't cover, put in the comments. Maybe we'll cover them, maybe we'll try them. We'd love to just have the conversation with you guys. If there's any like dosage questions, quality questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Jake is happy to answer those, and even send you some links to the stuff that he's recommended and taken.
For
So
sure.
yeah, there's that. But appreciate you guys listening, and comment what topic as an entirety you want us to cover next. We're looking to serve and provide value here. Obviously, we know all this stuff. We implement all this stuff in our life for many years now. So whatever we can cover for you guys and do a deep dive on, like that's what we're here for. We're not here for ourselves, although it is a ton of fun to jump on here and talk about this stuff.
It
I
is.
do learn new stuff, just like Annika, Montana, or something.
Arnica, Montana.
Arnica, Montana. I don't know. Sounds like an ex girlfriend or something, but
For you.
all right,
Homeopathy.
homeopathy, homeopathy. Much love.
Hey guys.